America created a law that declared abortion illegal, this number would continue to rise. Why? Because if a woman is so certain that having an abortion is the right course of action for her, in her situation, she will do whatever is necessary to have that abortion, even if it puts herself at risk. It is a sad fact of life. Women do not always want to follow through with an with having a child after an unplanned pregnancy. When the unwanted child is born, there's a good chance that he or she would not receive the same love and care as the desired child. Many of the children may be born into poverty. These children may have deep emotional problems due to the lack of love and some of the necessities of life. The woman may have to raise a child on her own or be forced by circumstances to give the child up for adoption. Currently, it is estimated that there are already over 500,000 orphans in the American foster care system. Laws against abortion are likely to only increase this number of children. Each woman experiences carrying a child and bringing him or her into this world, in their body and in their own unique way. No governmental body can simulate this experience. Therefore, the government should not be allowed to dictate to an individual woman that a medical procedure to abort the fetus is not legal. It is illogical to think that any government, based upon protecting individual freedom, should be allowed to regulate medical procedure involving a life-altering decision. It is unreasonable for any such government to enforce a law prohibiting abortions rather than allowing for individual choice. There are many who believe abortions are wrong, and they are free to have that belief and live their own lives following their own views of right and wrong. But they should not be allowed, nor should they try, to force their beliefs on others. America was itself born out of freedom, and the same freedom of choice should be given to women. Based on what is written in our Constitution, and the idea of which our founding fathers founded this great nation, I believe that abortion should be legal for all women who desire one. Further, I believe that abortion should remain legal until such time that the baby might be able to survive outside of the mother's womb. Specifically, this would be around week 22 of the pregnancy. I believe at this time, abortions may be considered wrong due to the fact that the baby might be able to survive outside of the mother's womb with medical care and therefore represents a viable life. Also, by this time, the baby's sensory and neural nerves have become developed and functional, and they can feel and move, and the skin is nearly developed. Fat in the body is accumulating, and that keeps the body warm. And the intestines have developed enough to digest sugars and other nutrients. However, I do believe that before the 22nd week of the pregnancy, abortion should remain legal since there is no chance of the fetus to survive. Both the neural and nervous systems are underdeveloped and non-functional. The intestines and digestive systems are incapable of digestion. The skin is poorly developed, and there is a minimal amount of fat on the body to keep the baby warm. At this stage, if there were a problem during the pregnancy that threatened the life of the mother, the fetus would not be able to survive, and the doctor would be forced to proceed with an abortion. Law supporting legal abortions prior to the time when the baby can survive outside the mother's womb, but declaring them illegal after, satisfies both pro-choice and some of the pro-life arguments. If a woman were raped, she would be allowed to receive an abortion. Women with pregnancy complications that put their lives at risk are also able to receive an abortion. Women who, due to circumstance, do not desire a child at this point in their lives can receive an abortion and spare the child a difficult life growing up as an orphan or in a poor home environment. I believe that the judgment concerning whether or not the fetus could survive outside of the mother's womb should be left to medical experts and not government officials. The only involvement the government should have is to ensure doctors who perform abortions are properly qualified and abiding by the laws. The government should not be able to regulate and enforce abortion restriction laws based on moral arguments with such believes that this is the most effective way to approach the issue of whether or not abortion should be legal. And when I'm elected to lead this great nation, I will re-implement the virtues and values that our founding fathers built this nation. Virtues and ideals that support freedom for everyone. Thank you.
You have to raise your hand if you have questions.
Well, you said that in part of your speech you said that some women want an abortion because they don't want undesired children. But then you said that you do restrict abortion. So what if the woman while she's during that stage, what if she doesn't want a baby and then
Do you mean after the 22nd week?
what?
Do you mean
Yeah.
Then they can have a C-section to save both the baby and the mother.
Yeah, but that's not my question. I'm saying why do you want to restrict any of the abortion if you're it's still going to be an undesired child and why do you want to restrict that?
Well, I said in there that since it's after the 22nd week, a lot of the baby has developed and they represent a viable life. So it's now that we would consider it a life, then it should be saved. But before that, it's not considered a life because it wouldn't be able to survive on its own. It needs the mother, so it's still considered part of the mother. But after that, since it can survive, we don't consider it part of the mother.
Well, you say that you want to make the cutoff at 22 weeks, but what if all babies develop at different speeds and some of them are already?
It's not right at 22 weeks, it's when the doctor decides. I said specifically it's around the 22nd week, but it's when the trained doctor tells the mother that the baby is developed enough to survive. At that point, they can't have an abortion. Yes.
You said that one of the reasons why you wanted to allow abortion was so that unwanted babies who would have bad lives wouldn't have that bad life. But do you really think that no life is better than a bad life?
Well, after the age that many children get out of the foster care system, many become homeless, and I believe it's around 10% commit suicide within several years. And many are in jail several years after. And so yes, sometimes I do think it's better because some of them commit suicide anyway, and many of them lead extremely poor lives.
So do you not believe those babies are worth saving or worth having a life out?
I do after a certain point.
Yeah, but you don't think it's worth even trying to save them?
I do after a certain point, but up to that point, it's the mother's decision.
Remember, if you have a follow-up, just raise your hand again.
Right.
What type of women in your life have influenced you?
Just many women that I know. There's many unfortunate, women of the lower class that maybe forced to have an abortion.
Speaking about women of lower class who don't have access to different forms of contraceptives, what would you do about that to decrease the access of abortion?
I would make I would make it so that contraceptives are more readily available to those women, such as at women healthcare places. We'd make those. We would give them contraceptives to make sure that they do not have the undesired baby, and therefore there's no need for the abortion.
So back to your comment of for orphanages, do you not believe in them? You think
No, I
that
do believe
abortion
in
is
orphanages
better?
because the children that are there, they still should be taken care of. Yes.
So if they're just going to commit suicide, or 10% is going to commit suicide, is it not worth it
No,
then?
because if we can help even one of those child at one of those orphanages, then it's meaningful.
Do you think that there would be any way to reform orphanages so that lives of the orphans could get better, so that
the baby's discovered to have a genetic disease before the 22 weeks, do you think it's right for the mother to abort the baby if she feels?
As I said before, it's the mother's decision. She's the one bringing it to the world. The government should have no role in that.
One more question. You got 3 people, so keep your hands
Right.
up.
Would you take away money from the orphanages since you were saying abortion is
No.
illegal?
No, I'm not saying that taking money away from the orphanage is right. I would still give them the same amount of money. You may even give them more to